Good morning, everyone. I'm John O'Leary, as was said, President and CEO of Daimler Truck North America. Also a board member at PGE. So Maria, great to see you taking this leadership role here today, and proud to have been, let's say, volunteered by you to participate today. You can't say no to Maria. For any of you that aren't familiar with Daimler Truck, we employ just over 100,000 people worldwide, more than a quarter of which are part of our North American operations. We have nearly 3,000 people here at our Portland headquarter campus, including the majority of the company's engineering, R&D, and our e-mobility operations. We're the market leaders for Class 6 through 8 truck manufacturing in North America at 40%, and our vehicles and customers can be found on every continent across the globe. Our purpose is supporting those who keep the world moving, which is exactly what our products do every day. And our vision, as you saw from the video, is to lead sustainable transportation, period. Now, as the market leaders, it is our challenge and ultimately our responsibility to our customers and to the communities that they serve. It's why we're so heavily invested in the development of new clean diesel and zero-emission products, such as the e-Cascadia and the EM2, both of which are manufactured in Portland on Swan Island, as well as the MT50E walk-in vans and Thomas-built Jouley school buses, which are built in the Carolinas. Everything you buy at some point in time spends part of its journey on the truck. But it's not just groceries and Amazon deliveries that we're talking about. Our customers are also responsible for keeping the roads clear of snow and ice in the winter, dispatching first responders, and repairing down power lines. The way we at Daimler Truck operate and the products we make not only impact our own carbon footprint, but potentially the world's carbon footprint. That's why moving at the speed of right is so crucial. We know we won't get there overnight, but we do know what the right path is, and that the only way to achieve our vision is with innovation and persistence. It's also why DTNA is so heavily involved in the Oregon Clean Tech Task Force, which I co-chair along with Senator Ron Wyden and Governor Tina Kotek. The task force launched earlier this year in response to the Inflation Reduction Act and the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. We've been charged with providing recommendations for how Oregon can maximize its competitiveness for this funding, attract clean energy technology manufacturing, and ultimately position our state as a leader in this sector. This, of course, would also lead to the creation of new jobs for Oregonians and potentially significant economic growth. And we're not talking pocket change here either. Estimates show that we could see somewhere between 4 to 8 billion in new capital investment and create more than 18,000 new good jobs over the next 2 decades. Now today, I'll go over a few of the major findings from the task force, as well as what we can do to become a leader in the clean tech industry. But at a high level, there's a lot of areas that need improvement for Oregon to be competitive nationally. It boils down to 5 primary factors. The first is industrial land availability. According to Greater Portland, Inc., several billion-dollar projects had to look for opportunities out of state due to lack of industrial developed land. And of the land that is developed, nearly 80% is not shovel-ready. It's a statewide issue too, not just in the Portland metro. Another obstacle we face is a constrained energy grid. Clean energy tech manufacturing is itself very energy intensive, as are the AI data centers needed for a lot of these new technologies. Oregon has very aggressive grid decarbonization programs in process, but we need more power from all sources. If our goal is to attract business into our state to support a growing industry, then reliable and consistent power is crucial. Oregon also isn't providing enough financial and tax incentives compared to other states. You look at places like Massachusetts, Kansas, Mississippi, West Virginia, who are offering, in some cases, billion-dollar investment opportunities to develop the clean tech industry. And it's clear that we're just not competitive in this area right now. We may be offering incentives that seem great by our standards, but when you compare to what else is out there, there is no comparison. Our ability to attract and develop clean tech talent is another major obstacle. The Oregon university system has been a trailblazer on sustainability, but that talent is going to go where the work is. If we can't attract businesses to set up shop here, then our most promising talent will develop their on-the-job skills elsewhere. We need to strengthen the workforce pipeline for clean tech manufacturing, and that starts with making it more attractive for those companies to do business here. All of this together really contributes into a less than optimal ecosystem for innovation and for entrepreneurs. I feel we're at a pivotal moment in the development of the clean tech industry where major companies and startups are planting seeds that will determine where the hub of development will be in this space for generations. We don't really have the option to pick and choose which ones to address. We have got to make persistent progress in each area together, moving at the speed of right. Otherwise, companies will keep going elsewhere to develop their businesses and talent, and before you know it, we've missed the boat on clean tech. Now, to back it up with some statistics, in the 2 years since the Inflation Reduction Act launched, private companies have announced over 350 clean energy projects totaling more than $130 billion in planned investments. These projects have the potential to create more than 113,000 jobs. But, as you can see from this map, very few of them are located in the Pacific Northwest. The secret sauce for these other states is ultimately a lower cost of doing business, with 3 of the top 4 states being very highly ranked for favorable tax climates. We may be able to tout being one of the only states without a sales tax, but as you heard earlier, we're ranked 49th for a corporate tax rate, and we're in the bottom 10 for most other business and personal tax categories. We've got to start offering substantial tax incentives above and beyond our own standards if we want to compete against some of these other states for clean tech project investment. Earlier this year, in fact, DTNA launched Amplify, a joint venture for battery cell manufacturing, along with our competitor PACCAR from Bellevue and Cummins Engines from Indiana. As much as we wanted to have that 2 million square foot facility here in our backyard, the project opted to go out of state, largely due to 2 of the factors the task force identified: availability of developed land and competitive tax incentives. And on a more Portland-centric note, we still struggle with concerns over crime and houselessness. Without a doubt, the situation has improved, and we are very appreciative of that. But we continue to get questions and comments about the situation, both from our own team as well as from visiting customers and supplier partners. We take an immense amount of pride in our headquarters down the road on Swan Island, which is arguably, I'd certainly argue, Daimler's nicest corporate facility on the planet. And right across the street from it is our Electric Island, America's first public charging station for commercial vehicles, which we built in partnership with Maria Pope at PGE a few years back. But even there, we've had numerous issues with vandalism, including someone trying to salvage copper wiring from the charging hardware just a few months ago. Again, it's clear that there have been some major improvements, but we can't take our foot off the pedal with this topic. Portland is an outstanding city with a rich culture and heritage, and certainly some of the best food in the world, so we want to see it shine. And we look forward to working together on this with incoming Mayor Keith Wilson, who, by the way, is also an early adopter of our Freightliner e-Cascadia products. Thanks, Keith, and congratulations. Now, I know I haven't painted a rosy picture, but we're not out of the race. Sometimes moving at the speed of light isn't fast, but the important thing is that we're all coordinated and moving the ball in the right direction. The IRA may be an opportunity we have today, but we can't always rely on federal policy to jumpstart us. As a state, we have to be self-reliant and do what we know needs to happen. We need to instill confidence in the market that we will get there and that this industry needs to place its bets on Oregon. If we can demonstrate stability, self-sufficiency, and progress, then we can become the destination for this growing industry. Now, to summarize, we need to expand industrial land availability that's shovel-ready, upgrade our energy infrastructure to support the growth, develop competitive incentive packages, not just by our historic standards, but nationally, and invest in clean tech workforce development, strengthen the ecosystem in Oregon for innovation. And that reminds me a little bit of how Silicon Valley was established. As I'm sure some of you know, back in the first half of the 20th century, the East Coast was actually the nation's hub for innovation. Some of the first major national labs, like Bell Labs, were actually in New Jersey. That's where the first transistor, the building block of semiconductors, was invented. But that's certainly not the center of the industry today. A lot of those labs, and more importantly, their talent, left New Jersey to set up shop in California because of, at the time at least, better regulatory environment and establishments like Stanford University, which were investing heavily in developing the industrial space and talent needed to give the industry some runway. It took decades to build that reputation, but today it's hard to find anyone in the world who doesn't know what you're talking about when you say Silicon Valley. Does anyone remember Silicon Forest? What happened? We're potentially at the same point in history for the clean tech industry, but we've got a lot of work to do if we want Oregon to be its home. We don't need to make these changes overnight, but we do need to move more deliberately and decisively. I'm not sure what phrase they'll coin for the hub of the clean tech industry, but I do hope that whatever it is, it's synonymous with the great state of Oregon. Thank you very much.